Radiant team ban. Seconds remaining. Navi's turn to ban. Radiant team pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Anywhere you go, Baba Fanculo. Another title.
Navi's turn to
Alright, hurry up with this fucking ad roll.
10 seconds remaining.
Another title.
5 seconds remaining.
eGamingBets.com.
Reserve time.
Dota TV. Anywhere you can. Play to win the game.
Navi's turn to pick.
Welcome back, Dota 2 fans. Game 3, final game of the day. CIS Group Stage, Dota Pit Season 5, Navi versus Empire in this one. First game, Navi's going to be on the dire side with second pick. They're going to grab up Oracle here in the first phase, which hasn't slipped through. Marana, definitely a consideration for them. Pretty damn good support combo there with the Fortune Zen into the Sacred Arrow. But they are going to go for Generals, a Sand King here. MRP, Mike Cloris here to bring you the coverage in this one.
Still heroes like Faceless Voids in the pool. Omni-Knight was picked up pretty late last time. Not incredibly attractive for Empire right now, already going up against an Oracle. And for Navi, you generally don't want to be saddled with an Oracle and Omni-Knight, so it is possible we see that guy just being completely skipped over in this game. But L-Titan Faceless Void, it's a pretty powerful opening. Just Chronosphere things, and generally things die. Plan in game 1 that only came together like once or twice or something like that, but Empire's gonna give it another run at it. But it'll also be into a false promise, so no guarantees.
Yeah, definitely so. It'll be interesting to see who they put this Void in the hands of. Of course, Aloha picking it up last game, but Ghostic with the potential to do that as well. Neither performing extremely well on the Void. Ghostic particularly had his struggles in game 1 with his Chronospheres often landing just onto solo targets. And not only that, but not very influential targets in mostly support. So we'll see if Empire can kind of turn that trend around and do a little bit better with the Void. Last game definitely feels like they were good enough, but they had such an advantage coming into that mid game that they weren't nearly as reliant on the Chronospheres landing as they were in game 1. PA ban is an interesting one. Going to come out from the Navi side. Huskar with the Oracle already on the table is going to be the ban from Empire.
I mean, whenever there's an Oracle, you always have to consider it. Whenever there's an Oracle with the potential of also picking up an additional sustained hero along the lines of Omni-Knight, then it gets just way too risky to try to deal with. Even though Faceless Void, not the worst heroes at dealing with Huskar, the chances for cheese there from Navi just way too high there. So we'll see what Empire wants to pick up in addition to this Void. It was Lifestealer Quap in game 1. Lifestealer is really good up against Sand King, pretty good up against the Oracle as well, but it's just a little bit awkward for Empire. I doubt they will decide to run that back. Kunkka's still in the pool, and if Empire don't pick it up, I'm pretty sure Navi will be okay just grabbing that one again. I mean, that was what shut down the Void L Titan in game 1. It was Art Styles' insane Kunkka play.
Yeah, the Kunkka play was phenomenal from him in game 1, and pair that up with an Oracle and you kind of have that poor man's X, at least early on, from the Fortune's End to set up the Torrent. So very nice support duo there, just something that Navi's generally comfortable playing, and of course the boat going to be very nice in these team fights, which is potentially the kind of lineup that Empire is trying to assemble here, is one that is going to team fight often. So they will get up that Coco's run for themselves, as you touched upon, and Navi going to end up picking up the Kunkka here.
This is pretty much exactly game 1's draft. I just swapped Oracle out, or Oracle in for the Shadow Demon, but it's pretty much the same exact game plan until Silencer shows up. That's pretty interesting. Silencer covering for Faceless Void's initiation and L Titan's initiation, that is incredibly powerful. I mentioned the fact that Sand King is one that you can generally, or at least expect to see coming from time to time. You can mess up the Kunkka's combos as well with the Silencer. Global Silence is going to be a pretty nice all-star. Plus, filling in from Sand King or Kunkka is pretty big game as well. So I'm generally not a huge fan of Silencer, but if you're going to pick up Silencer, this is the time to do it.
My concern is that potentially they'll lack damage, but with the Chronosphere to set up for the Elder Titan combo, maybe he makes up enough damage in the one hero to cover the entire support duo. Definitely just feels like the Silencer pick is simply to disrupt the flow of the team fight combination in the Sand King and the Kunkka on the other side. So we'll see how it ends up panning out. I highly doubt it's going to end up being in the core role here, and my concern would lie mostly on damage and setup. It's going to mean that, just like in game 1, Empire is very reliant on this Chronosphere, and sure, they can cover it with a global, but if the Chronospheres don't land well, then it doesn't seem like the team fights will go well for them at all, which is, obviously very typical to say of a Void lineup, but not having something like a Lion or a Witch Doctor to cover you with damage, or perhaps even a Skywrath Mage, is a bit concerning for me. Speaking of damage, though, they're going to go for Morphling here. And yeah, as you mentioned, just very similar to early on in the day. Going to have a lot to contribute into this Chronosphere, though, will the Morph.
Yeah, just right clicks at the very least, and Morphling right clicks are usually pretty good. Navi do pick up the Sven here, which is good for a multitude of reasons. Not only is there a lot of stun duration already on the Navi side, so they have even more control coming from a core with another stun, but armor, or the Warcry armor, going up against any Faceless Void drafts, any Elder Titan drafts, super valuable. Fighting up against that natural order and putting them together makes it even more valuable. Then just with that survivability aspect alone is going to lend Navi with so much extra durability. Plus he's a hero that tends to want to get BKB. So Global Silence to slow down the Sven generally isn't going to do all that much against him. He just BKBs the Global Silence off and then continues doing Sven things. So Navi still looking for their mid lane, I would imagine, unless they have another little bit of a switch up. Although I don't expect that to be the case, a la game 1. Small scale initiation for Empire should be really the concern at this point. Like they have the team fight in spades. They just have to make sure that they start it in a solid fashion. Faceless Void was the only one to do it in game 1. That's why we saw all those one-man chronos, because he's just difficult to initiate with on a small hero basis.
I'm worried about Empire getting to the mid game with enough in their pockets. I think that the Silencer is going to hamper them quite a bit in lane, and I feel like with adding the Sven here, there's so much firepower in the lanes of Navi's side, so it definitely could be difficult for them. This is a hero that can apply a lot of pressure in the early game, though, and also contributes a lot into the Chronosphere, especially considering she'll likely be in the farming role in the mid lane for Navi here. So not often that we see this Mirana slip through this deep into the pool. To add to your BKB point about the Sven, not really caring much about global, I mean, he's going to try more often than not to jump in, initiate the fights, and use at least Stormbolt and God Strength right away, if not Warcry as well. So if he gets those two off, Global Silence doesn't really mean much for the Sven. So I definitely agree with you that pick is going to be nice there. But Mirana, I mean, is almost always going to guarantee at least one kill in the Chronosphere with the arrow, effectively making it like 9 to 11 seconds of stun on any target. So really nice pickup here synergistically with what Empire already has.
Ooh. little bit of mix up here.
Ooh, indeed. Dendi mid lane Hunka, art style Chen is going to be, although in the first game of the day, Chen and Enchantress end out by Empire. You know, as these series kind of develop their own meta, Empire just overlooking it in this third draft. And Na'Vi will get, you know, I talked more moments ago about the lanes here for Empire. And Mirana, one of the good heroes to deal with Chen. She can just arrow down one of the creeps, but like it will be in the mid lane. So it feels like art style can get some work done here early on.
And also, when you see a Kunkka picked up nowadays, your first instinct isn't, oh, he's going mid. Like, you see a Kunkka on Navi's side, you don't expect Dendi to be picking up. You don't prepare for that. And now that he is actually there, well, Tidebringer harassment definitely adds up toward the mid lane. Having a Chen gank the lane that a Kunkka is also in is very difficult to deal with, even if you do have something like Leap to get out. You have something like X marks to bring you back in, and that goes for both Mirana Morphling, I guess Faceless Void as well. So X marks being leveled up a little higher because Dendi, being a mid lane player, I would expect him to go mid lane with this Kunkka unless they further decide switching up, will tend to have more experience. So we'll be able to get the Tidebringer levels, the Torrent levels, and the X marks levels. So this Kunkka is going to be definitely a diversified threat. I like the mix up for Na'Vi. I mean, at the very least, it threw a wrench into how Empire expected this game was going to go. And at very best, they have a pretty high, hard to gank hero because he's so bulky in the mid lane.
Yeah. Definitely like the switch up at the end from Na'Vi. It feels like Empire's draft is a super comfortable one as well, though. Anytime you're able to get Morphling plus ET, you've got the Chrono on top of the Mirana combo, so there's going to be a lot of damage coming out from this Na'Vi side. However, they are a little bit burst-oriented with potentially the E-Blade build, with the Mirana double Starstorm at the start, and, you know, if Na'Vi and Seneko are able to get off some key false promises, they can certainly turn some fights.
It's all about that positioning. Ghost Stick, you know, if you're gonna Chronosphere, gotta make sure that the Chronosphere is in the right place to at least isolate the Oracle out, to make sure that someone is there to deal with the Oracle. It's certainly not that difficult, especially with what Empire have. They have a lot of mobility, so getting to the back line isn't really going to be a possibility for the Empire side. But we did see how General Sand King just kind of trounced the Empire side in game 1, and it doesn't seem like this bottom lane is going to be super difficult for a Sand King. Should expect to stay in this lane for quite a long time, but, you know, we have to see if he's actually going to be able to get a lot of farm on the level of the game.
Courier is coming out, Miposhka nearby, but there's a certain chance for Seneko to snipe this out. He's got really fast base attack time as an Oracle, and he will be able to grab it up early on. Was it even bringing anything out? There's no salve onto G. Oh, that's odd. But it's dead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mirana has all of her items, right? So I'd say it worked out pretty well for G in the end, item-wise. But no Courier is going to be a problem because, again, Tidebringer harassment is very, very quick to add up. Even though, you know, level 1 right now, we can already see Dendi putting the screws to G. Already one Share Tango gone. Only one left. No bottle in sight for a very long time. No salve either for, you know, lack of courier reasons. So this mid lane, Dendi, Kunkka already off to a pretty good start. But I guess on the other end, General is facing up against Silencer, who levels up Glaives of Wisdom first. That's very difficult to deal with. The smoke from Chen shouldn't be able to get the Centaur into a good enough angle to stun anyone. So looks like it'll be just fine.
Ghost Stick top lane stunned up. Opts to hold on to the time walk here. Does have a salve available, and as you mentioned, bot lane. Similar story. Everyone going to be just fine for now. But yeah, this is perhaps the first time of the day we've seen the mid lane so desolate in terms of no support coming through. And it definitely does feel like with Tidebringer that Dendi has a bit of an edge in this one if they're left to buy their lonesome.
I don't know if Empire know that General doesn't have Burrow Strike. Okay, now they probably do, because he's not Burrow Striking the ET right now, but still it's pretty much Eye of Scotty clicking way onto Miposhka. Needs a couple more from the Chen. He's only range here. Miposhka is getting hit with a couple creeps also.
I think
lose aggro, but the Chen is going way too far. Wait for him in and will go down.
Artstyle going to be the first blood spilled here, and unfortunately, it actually isn't first blood because one of the creeps end up bringing him down. But this is a bit worrisome for Na'Vi, the fact that Artstyle's spending his time in lane, not farming up, not pressuring mid, pressuring the off lane, and I mean, they're still farming just fine on the Morphling. I mean, Aloha Dance has 7 denies in this lane to couple up with his 10 last hits, so doing very well in terms of creep score, and Artstyle really yet to have his presence felt by the Empire side.
I mean, at the same time, it's nice if the Chen does gank the Mirana. Dendi doesn't really need the help right now because they're getting Elder Titan kills. That's one thing for General, able to do that, put that one together by himself, but the Kunkka is just demolishing G. Like, he had to walk back to the fountain, and he's now back in, but Tidebringer being leveled up, and Mirana still with no real source of sustain outside of just occasional salves, is really taking a lot of damage and unable to regenerate it. Plus, Navi now turning around, getting a kill in the bottom lane. The mid lane's all locked up. Bottom lane is being heavily challenged, and Sven's free farming top lane, so it's all coming up Navi.
Ghostic finding some decent levels on the Faceless Void. They do get a D ward by virtue of that kill that Miposhka concedes, so King R 100 gold into his pockets, a little bit of experience there as well, and they take the vision away from this off lane, so perhaps we see Artstyle retreat for the next little bit towards the jungle and make a move there after mid lane. G is going to get torrented up. Just a bit of harass coming his way from Dendi. Yeah, the stable kind of passive laning stage certainly does seem that Navi's gaining a slight edge in that respect, and they do have a Sand King to get active very early on to respond to Empire's Void, who's going to look to do the same.
Style has two of the better creeps to gank with, and he has a really good angle on G. If he decides to leap, it's still going to be a kill most likely. They just need a torrent, and yeah, the Chen will grab a pretty free kill, and they secure the rune for the Kunkka on top of that. Ron is having a nightmare game right now. Unable to CS, to worry about being ganked. Doesn't really have many great heroes that can help her out in the lane either. I mean, Silencer rotating in versus Dendi, he will suffer the same fate because Tidebringer does not care how many units there are. Yeah, Navi just have this mid lane locked down, and Dendi's getting some revenge off of how demolished he got in the last game.
Yeah, and did end up playing very well on the puck despite having a very lane torrent. And the bolt gonna come through. G gets the leap off just in time. There was no net there from Artstyle. Not sure if he was quite in range for it. It felt like he was though. But either way, I don't think the net. I think you can pounce out of net regardless. You're just held in place, however many units away. So it doesn't seem like it would have mattered much. But G barely gonna survive. There's still a lot of pressure, as you mentioned, being applied to this Mirana. 16 CS to the 26, and maybe more importantly, 14 denies of her laning equivalent. But Dendi, speaking of which, gonna torrent up, connects onto 2. And Curse, well, leap forward, couple more right clicks. Glaives of Wisdom will be there. G, the one to pick up the kill. Saneko just a bit too late to help out his mid laner.
They get a much needed kill on Dendi just to give G a little bit of extra time to get more CS, get a little bit more control over this lane. It does cost them 2 heroes towards the mid lane though, away from bottom. So Sand King, yeah, caught at a bad time, is still going to take a lot of damage, has to return to the base. But now just up against the Morphling isn't really going to be worried that much about how his lane is going to go because of how low range the Morphling is and how good Adaptive Strike, Caustic Finale is rather, against the Morphling. Actually going to find a pretty good angle in the Silencer as well. Burst Strike, Net, and Stomp all layered a lot, but I don't think it matters because of all the Caustic Finales set up. General just pops them with all the creeps in the area. And over towards the mid lane also. Navi are just everywhere.
Yeah, very decisive play there from General. He knows his Chen is even somewhat nearby, sees the Silencer hang around for that CS, immediately goes for the Burrow, which he does have at level 3 at this point. So very nicely played. Probably was a level 2 Burrow for the kill prior to that, but either way, General, as you mentioned, doing well in the lane. Sitting on level 5, he's got good CS right now, 12. But wow, Ghostic is doing very admirably in the top lane as well. About the same experience and 20 CS on this Void though. As I say that, he is going to be torrented up, tries to time walk away, will be killed off. So Mako the one take the last hit there, as Oracles tend to do.
Speaking of Admirals, right? Suddenly Kunkka, look at this stack on this top lane for Navi. This is a ton of creeps right now. Adichira is going to God Strength clear that one. It's very rare that we see this stack being created so high just because it's so easy to contest. Faceless Void can't really do that. So Sven's going to get a huge influx of gold, and it's not really going to be at the cost of anything. We do have a Moonlight Shadow going down towards bottom lane. Chen, no way to escape that stomp. Now he's going to get hit with everything in the kitchen sink. General is here to try to back him up. Still have a couple of trolls here. 2-man Burst Strike, and Poshka is taking a lot of damage here. G's going to jump in, kill off Artstyle. They will lose the L time, but probably gain General in a double kill. They are getting a decent amount of stolen intelligence.
I think that should be all right for Navi. Losing General there, Not exactly what you want ideally, and Seneko does rotate in late, but they pick up the Soul Ring on General, so he doesn't lose all that much gold. Arcane Boots were purchased recently by Artstyle, although he definitely lost a little bit more, but Mirana forced to rotate down. Dendi has free time in the mid lane, second overall net worth. Big stack cleared up by Ditya. He's been uncontested, has that Helm of the Dominator, so I think Na'Vi are still fairly content with how this early game is going.
Kunkka now has that maxed out Tidebringer, so lane control is at maximum for Dendi. If it comes to it, creep clearing, creep stack clearing as well. Available, Seneko is probably going to go right back and prep up the jungle even more when it's more time to spawn. But they already have stacks being created in their jungle for the Sven, for Dendi, really for whoever. But now he has a chance to get more points in X Marks and Torrent. Like, he's actually going to be able to up his utility game from the mid lane. That's what you get from a mid lane Kunkka as opposed to a support Kunkka. You just get raw levels. 8 minutes in, a support Kunkka will be like, what, level 4 at this spot, like level 5 on a really good day. Having those extra couple of levels for boat plus more damage from Tidebringer, reducing the cooldown to 4 seconds, it's a big deal.
Test of Faith comes out, couple more right clicks as General once again finds him, and now they've rotated into Seneko and Dendi as well. Aloha Dance maybe feeling that the aggression is going to be stymied here, but here comes the Burrow Strike. They've got the Bolt coming in as well. Torrent perfectly placed. He won't be able to waveform out. That is a massive kill for Na'Vi to find a Morphling who is essentially free farming up until that point. Right atop, aside from the Sven who had that stack to farm, the CS chart, and they will get that kill onto the Morphling, as well as put some pressure into this tower, perhaps even bring it down. All the meanwhile, Dendi able to port back mid, defend that tower up, get himself some farm. So Na'Vi really happy with the last couple of minutes.
Chen brute force, still good at killing off towers, regardless of how uncommon the pick may be. And with Mechanism on the way, it seems like Na'Vi will be, pretty much as prepared as you can possibly get to start forcing down the rest of the tier 1s. Top lane may be an issue for Na'Vi. Pretty big group up here. Silencer doesn't have global just yet, but there is a Chronosphere on the Void. Fortunately, there's no one remotely in the area, so up for 3, itching to use this Chronosphere. They're going to find nothing but a couple of stacks of creeps. Barely anything relevant, and even if they do find someone, the rest of Na'Vi, they're kind of close enough together that they may lose one person, but they're able to at least retaliate with some other heroes.
Yeah, they didn't find any heroes, but they need to find King R a new computer at some point after today. They are stacking up the Ancients as well here for Ra, who's having a great game thus far. Can pick up a Blink or Echo Saber fairly soon. He's got 1,700 gold. He'll have a triple stack of Ancients momentarily, so things looking good here for Na'Vi early on. Perhaps they want to be a little bit more farmed on General, but opting to vie for the Soul Ring before going in for anything like a Drum or a Blink Dagger. He's still at a great position in this game.
And this represents a pretty big opportunity for Empire. If they're able to get in here with more heroes than there are right now, they can make a lot of action happen with the Chronosphere. First of all, body block. Sand King's gonna have to walk in so far. Good attempt, I guess.
It's unfortunate he didn't have a Troll Creep or Centaur Conqueror. In that case, he may have been able to net the kill, but Ditya again gonna get a huge influx. Quad stack of Ancients there. He is almost doubling the mid lane Mirana and does fully conduct the Echo Saber. Really hard to bypass that on this hero. Very, very good synergy there. So he can rely on General to get the initiation for him for now. Get those couple big swipes off with the God Strength as a follow-up. Dendi also going to offer that. 3 levels in the Torrent now. A little bit low on the X in this one, but does have an invisibility rune. So that may be just enough for him to find a kill. They're seeing if anyone wants to defend this tower. So Nako right-clicking away at the tier 1 in mid may give away that there are other heroes nearby. And
now Artstyle doing the same.
Yeah.
Just Chen tanking the tower. Standard stuff.
NBD guys, but yeah, for now Empire privy to that, wisely so, will take out the tier 1 in the top lane for Na'Vi's side, but Na'Vi at the advantage right now, 2 tier 1s to 1 of their enemies, and General will shove the lane in and they'll look for more bottom where Aloha Dance resides currently. Dendi does have the X, can hit it of course from close range, and he will pop off the first Tidebringer hit. Torrent is there, hold back perfectly. There's the stun as well. Trying to bring him down. They don't pop the God Strength though, so Aloha Dance still fairly healthy. Has a lot of strength morphing to do if need be. Moonlight Shadow for now is going to keep him safe. as Navi did not bring detection. So
G just got like a minute and a half, 2 minutes of free farm towards top lane, took down the tier 1 tower, is still pushing in, running the tier 2s now of Navi. This is exactly what the Mirana needs, just a little bit of extra gold to get that Ags up. Get that up, and then usually the rest of your items, kind of fall into place just by virtue of how fast you farm. But no challenge on this top lane from the Navi squad is going to be a godsend here from Empire. Silencer also getting a good mix of experience from sticking around that top lane as well, now has Global Silence. So Empire, they do have the Chronosphere, they have the Global Silence, they even have the Earth Splitter from the ET leveled up rather early because of the fact they have the Faceless Void. So they are ready to challenge Navi at this stage. Will be in almost the perfect spot while they're trying to kill off Roche. Can they actually make it happen though? There is a Blink Dagger coming out for Sand King? No, not quite, just drums. But still jumping for Chronosphere. Global Silence is there, but they're trying to go for the Sven. Probably the tankiest target. He's going to take from absolutely everything. He's still not dead yet. Pops Warcry and is just going to turn around and demolish the Void with the help of the Gen. There's the false bombs onto the Sven, letting him go ham. Great stomp though, onto 4. To disengage, they lose the Void. Morphling on the run as well. Sand King looking to intercept. Torrent off the mark. Burrow Strike is not though. Here comes the Epicenter. Strength Morph. How broken is it? Turns out it's pretty good, but I don't think it's that good because X marks right back.
Also quite broken. X marks can be, not quite as broken as Strength Morph, but pretty darn good. Ditya in the meantime gonna watch his team, or gonna allow his team to finish off that Morphling while he finishes up the Roshan. So Aegis in hand for him. By the time, within this 5-minute window that he has, the Aegis should be able to pick himself up. Blink Dagger. He's gonna TP up top lane. There are 2 heroes nearby. Could be a little bit risky here for Ditya, and he will think better of it under the safety of his tier 2.
General Dendi, both with drums. Drum Bros looking for kills on the bottom lane. In the meantime, King R is a very viable kill for top lane. They're going to try to go for Moshka. Huge hit from Ditya and his Echo Saber. And then the tower seals the deal. All planned, I'm sure. But yeah, God Strength, Echo Saber. It's hitting a lot harder than it really should hit 14 minutes in the game.
It turns out it's a pretty good item on Sven. What do you know? 2,000 gold in his pocket, and he spent the first minute or so up in this top lane, being afraid of dying. So we'll have this Blink Dagger relatively soon, and as soon as that God Strength cools down, look for Navi potentially to fight around this Aegis Armlet. Going to be picked up soon for Dendi as well, and he is currently level 10 on this Kunkka, second highest in the game, only to his allied Sven. So Navi looking great in all facets of this game thus far. Almost 10k in the way of net worth lead, 5k in the way of experience. But everything looking good for them to hit their, timings. They do have the mechanism as well up onto art style, so that's going to synergize very well with the False Promise from Seneko, Hand of God, much in the same light. And the Blink Dagger picked up now by Ditya. They'll look to take this low-hanging fruit here of this tier 1 in the offlane.
More momentum for the Sven. He's got the God Strength up in 5. Ready to go, but at the same time Empire are all ready to go as well. They have the Chronosphere, they have the Global Silence, Night Shadow, not really going to yield too much for the team. They still desperately need this Ags on the Mirana before they're truly ready to challenge Navi in a fight heads up when Navi are not in a corner fighting Roshan. So it is going to be an easy tier 1 tower, you say, low hanging fruit, and the Sand King is going to go ahead and complete up a hood. Getting a lot of cash, was expecting Blink, but I guess he figures, hey, my Sven has Blink, I don't need one right now.
Sure. They have Dendi for initiation as well. The X mark starting to level up there, or will start to level up there going forward now that he's hit the level 11 mark. And Armlet going to be delivered out soon to him as well. Ghostic trying to farm up the enemy jungle on the Faceless Void for the time being, and he may run into art style here, but no one really nearby the Chen to help out with that kill.
Empire just need to dodge fights. They're the Navi of last game, except in this game, and they do have what happened to Mirana's goal. I thought she just had her Ags. I miscounted. So yeah, she needs a little bit more time, I guess, to complete up that Aghanim Scepter, and all the while Navi are going to start locking down the map. Looking at tier 2 towers, with the Sven is pretty quick to take down, plus they have a stack working, plus they have the Aegis. Everything is coming up Navi right now, and in the meantime, like, carry Morphling in the middle of the net worth chart behind the enemy Chen is not where you want to be. He only has Perseverance, which is doing pretty much nothing for him. Morph helps him live, but he's not really a threat.
Yeah. And once again, it comes back to you pick this silencer support, and he offers you a lot in the way of utility, but with a Morphling who's basically just there to survive in the fights, where is your damage really coming from? No Aghanim Scepter just yet. Come out for the Mirana, and sure, that'll be a big boost in damage, but will it be enough in these team fights remains to be seen. Bot lane, though, they know the Sven is top. They're looking for a fight. Ghostic will find Dendi. Global on top of it. Arrow is going to be their Earth Splitter as well. Should be a kill onto the Kunkka, and it will be with G's Starstorm finishing it off. It's a fairly heavy commitment with the Chronosphere, but a very big target to bring down, and it'll be about 270 experience a pop for those 4 heroes. Unfortunately, Aloha Dance on the Morphling not going to be joining them in that bounty, but does have 2,000 gold to his name for that ultimate orb relatively soon. It'll help him a lot versus the Sven and the Kunkka's initiations.
Sand King gonna slip out of there as well. It is every single ultimate used by Empire. 100 seconds until they're going to be at their full strength, whereas for Na'Vi, just another 10 before they're ready to go again. And they're looking at an Elder Titan. They just need vision of him. Hammer is not going to be casted. They got the Moonlight Shadow. That'll hide the ET, let him survive. But yeah, now all these ultimates being down, they are in a powerful enough position, Na'Vi, where they can just, use God's Strength pretty liberally to either fight over hero kills or try to go for these towers with Sven. They really have a lot of luxury right now, not having to worry about these giant disables from the Silencer and the Faceless Void.
Bendy back towards the bottom lane. God's Strength going to be used once again for Dit Yura to clean up stack here. Looks like 4, perhaps 5 stacks of Ancients. Yeah, it's going to be 4. Taken down once again by Dit Yura. 3,700 gold to his name can look to go towards, a demanaged base item, any sort of kind of damage item going forward. Does feel like he's very survivable at this point. Feels like, Empire, even when they hit their full combo, little bit of damage. You saw how difficult it was to bring down Dendi under that Chronosphere. They had to throw everything at him, and were able to do so, but in a full-scale engagement, it seems like it's going to be a little more difficult. He opts for the Shadow Blade for now on top of the Blink. We'll see how that ends up panning out. It gives him a little bit of extra attack speed and damage, of course. Allows him to not only initiate, but then thereafter extricate himself from the fight if need be.
Yeah, it seems like Na'Vi are okay playing this a little bit slow, just trying to get enough time for Sand King to get his items up, for Kunkka to get his items up, and for the most part you would expect fights, if Na'Vi are going to be playing slow, to happen in kind of the middle-ish river area of the map. The Shadow Blade will be a very strong item in that regard as well. I think he honestly could have gone for anything and it would have been fine. Like, even if he decides to not spend his gold, he still is stacked enough with items that he can still do pretty much exactly his job. Void looking for Sand King, not quite in range.
Yeah, in the meantime, Tier 2 going to be taken down bottom lane for free by Na'Vi in general, alongside Dendi. In close quarters to the rest of the Empire lineup, Ghostic has a Blink Dagger available. Does he want to go for General here? Gonna think better of it. TP in from Dit Yura, Shadow Blade up.
This is gonna hurt a lot. As long as he doesn't cast the hammer.
Looks for the TP out. Global will be there. They'll be able to pounce away on G. Moonlight Shadow comes out as well. No detection, no Blink Dagger from General. He just finds a Replicate. And they are going to expend the Epi for this Replicate.
Got him.
But either way, not all that much lost by Navi's side. Empire, though, happy to have G survive. They do use a Global for it, however.
And yeah, BKB's still pretty good item for the Na'Vi side if they ever decide to stop building Shadow Blades and start building into those actually fight-ready items. Ghostic gonna try to go for Ra. Of Mirana, it's gonna take a lot of damage and it's not quite enough. Shadow Blade to escape. Pretty sure that's not what the plan was, Shadow Blade, but it does help you escape sometimes.
Point blank arrow there, not enough duration on the stun. I feel like if she shot it from the beginning anyways, because it was earlier, it would have been about the same thing. So can't really fault G for leaping in to get the Starstorm off right away, but they are unable to bring down the Sven, who's proved definitely to be a tanky target thus far in the game, and has that Helm of the Dominator for that extra bit of armor. So Chronosphere off the board, Global Silence off the board. There is no Epicenter for Na'Vi, but they do have a Blink Dagger for General now, which they did not in the last engagement, so definitely looks like a good time for them to fight.
Aloha Dance chilling on the bottom lane, trying to get it harassment onto art style. Nothing major there. Roshan is once again alive, and Navi have a little bit more access to that. A minute left for the Faceless Void Chronosphere. And unfortunately, Navi aren't quite yet in position right now. Ditchera doesn't even have a TP scroll, so he can't even get there if he wanted to. It's a little bit unfortunate for Navi, but it's a really lucky break there for Empire that Navi aren't actively in the Roche pit while their ultimates are down. They're going to think of converging up towards top. And this Sven is worth so much gold that if they're somehow able to kill him, they'll all be really happy about that. But I don't know. It requires like 4 heroes minimum. Like maybe if they're lucky, it'll be only 3 to take him safely. They're unfortunately going to get juked out by a TP, as Sven is probably going to be popping God Strength for Roche here.
They could definitely walk into the pit, especially if they see some of these Empire heroes a show in lane top, and G will now do that. So that opens the window here for Navi. They got an army of Chen creeps and Ditya alongside them. They'll use the Fate's Edict to disarm up Roche, bring him down in due time, and looks like Ditya expending the God Strength. Could perhaps even mount a defense on the top lane here. The top lane very low and the units encroaching here. But they need to be careful not to just TP in one by one and feed over kills. But already prepping.
Cry, try to get there faster, but I think this tower is probably forfeit already.
TP inbound is a risky one for sure from Dendi, and he will end up canceling it. Empire gonna take that tower. Fairly classic trade, top tier tower, top outer tier tower for the Roche pit. Tira though, he could be in a little bit of trouble here. They're under the cover of Moonlight Shadow. Now he will be under the cover of a Shadow Blade. And Ghost was probably scouted out.
And they know exactly where he is. Does he know where Ghostic is?
Oh, Blink forward?
Almost got him.
Does not find him in the cast animation for the Stormbolt, but unable to get it for Ditya. 4 minutes or so now that they're going to have with this Aegis. God Strength cooling down now. Do they look for a fight? And if so, where? Mid lane, they are going to converge as 3. And they do have the Aghanim Scepter up on art style already here. 24 minutes into the game, so have that Ancient Granite Golem aura here. Now jump forward though, mid lane, they find Dendi once again. He's the solo target of the Chronosphere, so Neko not able to get in range for the False Promise. And Dendi will be dropped.
Yeah, Global Silence just to cover those kills every single time. It is very expensive, and now the entirety of Empire, they're pretty much dead to rights if they get caught. And speaking of getting caught, Ditya gonna find Ghost Stick. 1-2 Bro Strike, jeez. Yeah, Echo Saber, God Strength, and get the Silencer also. It's an illusion, unfortunately for them.
Second time that's happened.
Yeah,
but
hey, they didn't Epicenter it this time, so that's fine. But King R is 3 seconds left till TP. It looks like he should be able to slip out of there as well, but Dendi's going to be up in 15. Navi are going to be at full strength in just a minute, and Sven honestly doesn't even need God Strength to still be a very effective hero in these fights. So losing a hero every so often to a Chronosphere and a Global Silence for Navi isn't actually all that bad. Like, they are starting to give the Marauder and Morphling a little bit extra farm space compared to what they were at earlier. That is a concern somewhat for Navi, but man, Ditya is just so stacked that it seems like they just don't really care about anyone else.
He just bought Boots of Travel, interestingly enough, on the Sven, so that's gonna hurt his attack speed a little bit, but he will be able to be a little bit more active across the map, try and deal with any of the split push coming from either the Mirana or the Morphling here going forward. And with the Blink Dagger, I mean, that could allow him to certainly set up kills. General has picked up a set of travels of his own as well, contributed in with his Sven. He's TPing. I'm channeling, thought perhaps he might be queuing up the Epicenter bot lane, but he is just going to TP in towards top. You're going to look to shove out the lanes. Looks like this timing window with the Aegis will likely expire here for Navi without them really getting anything of major significance, but still in good standing in this one.
Yeah, they are starting to put more and more eggs into the Sven basket as this game progresses. The art style is pretty farmed already, doesn't need all that much. Dendi, not able to keep up with the Mirana and Morphling in terms of farm, just, good naturally will struggle with that. So Navi are getting into a much different game plan, especially with General getting caught by Chronosphere. Ditya reinforced double hit onto G, not quite enough. Can't Stormhammer because of the Global Silence. They'll decide to fight, and we'll find King R. Or Silencer. Everyone else just leaves, and then Silencer gets cleaved into.
So one ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, General for Silencer. So General, obviously the little bit more valuable target in this one, as Empire are picking up more experience in gold. But yeah, the global silence is actually necessary there. G may have gone down had Navi and Yara been able to get the Stormhammer off. So they are able to save their Mirana there, get a fairly clean pick. But either way, not anything of great concern for Navi, albeit it does essentially waste the remainder of the Aegis timer.
Well, Sven is able to get his Helm of the Dominator back 27 minutes in, which is usually not going to be happening in any normal Sven game, but this is not a normal Sven game, definitely far ahead of where he usually is, and well, maybe Ancient stack some more in the future. Chen will grab some, but Chen's got a pretty sizable army. He's going to be shoving over mid while they're also going to go for bottom. X marks onto the Faceless Void again. Sliced apart. X marks showing its value one more time. No Chronosphere for a good 50 seconds. Time to see what they can do to this tower.
Yeah, he is probably the biggest proponent of their high ground defense is that Faceless Void, so very conveniently placed pickoff for Navi right outside the base. And they will purge the silence off of Dendi. That's going to be popped up. Yara getting a little bit low, and the Aegis just expired. Fate's Edict on him and get the God Strength off, and he will end up being sent back to base by Artstyle as the rest of Navi turn tail and run. Bomb will catch the backside. The jump charge there from General allowing them to make it out of base. Arrow will be soaked up by the Ancient, and because of the travels, Digger can jump back into the fray here, but no God Strength at this point. Does have almost enough for the Daedalus, however.
Well, they are unable to hit any significant timing as far as pushing is concerned. Still, the tower's down 1,000 HP. Not nothing for Navi. But Empire, they hold without putting themselves at too much risk. Now the Global Silence and Chronosphere once again are up. But Ben has an Invis.
And a Shadow
he
Blade.
can stun Loa Dance here.
Yeah.
No, not.
Lincoln Sphere going to keep him safe for now. Law Dance will be able to make it out to the north. Does have a set of travels of his own. Still not the biggest presence in terms of damage dealing, however, in these fights. 1900 gold on top of that. G, you're going to rely on a little bit more in terms of damage into this Chronosphere for Ghostic. And Ghostic has delivered thus far with his Chronos in the game. At least, even if they are single target Chronos, they've been valuable targets. Unlike what we saw in game 1. So we'll see if he's able to deliver in one of these full-scale engagements. You're going to run into a replicate, but they are under the cover of smoke, so they will know that Empire is nearby. Seneko going to have his smoke pop. They'll find G in the trees. G immediately Moonlight Shadows pounces off to the west. Aloha Dance may not be so lucky. The Global has to be there in order to cover their Morphling from being dropped, and it was nicely placed by Empire's side, but that is a couple of minutes with no Global Silence up for King R.
Oh, and they actually do find the Faceless Void? How the hell did they know that he was there?
Vac.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened, but it worked, and now Sven still has some more God Strength for G.
He has a BKB,
down.
though.
G has no Lincolns. He has a BKB, but that's not going to be up in time. Gets a crit, gets two. That was just one crit.
Okay, BKB. Alrighty then.
Hate to see the kind of thing happen.
Yeah, that's always feels bad, man. But two very savvy kind of picks there found by Ditya. One in the trees and then finding G bottom lane. Able to take him out. This Shadow Blade certainly panning out for him thus far. Dendi gonna clean up the creeps mid lane, and Artstyle will clean up the tower as Navi minus God Strength will jump up to the high ground. They're gonna look to take out this replicate. They will burrow for it. Stomp comes out. He's gonna connect onto 4. Earth Splitter will come through as well. Bolt though is there from Navi's side to at least fly rum, and everyone will back out after being hit with that AT combo.
That's a pretty nice value defense there by Empire. Spend 2 spells, 3 spells, and force everyone from Navi away. If Navi actually found the real uptime instead of that replicate, then the game would be much different. The doors would be wide open. But instead, I mean, they're just going to try to eke as much value as they can out of the Shadow Blade. They get the hammer onto the Morphling. Epicenter is there as well. Waveform down to the south. Epicenter, therefore, does very little. But they're going to pop all these jump charges and start dicing the Morphling. That's a crit. That does some damage with the fresh Daedalus. The Morphling down.
2,800 gold in Ditura's pockets. In the last few minutes for him, he has simply taken over the game. For Navi's side, 5-0-4 on his Sven, 20,000 net worth here. 32 minutes in is looking good, and Roche nearly respawning here during the death of Aloha Dance. Dendi nearby the pit may just take a gander in, but he's found himself a double damage rune. Daedalus on his person, Armlet DD there as well. He's got the arcane rune, wants to make some usage out of this. General gonna posture up mid lane, and Dendi with the double damage room gonna be joined up by Dityra here with the boots of travel, and they'll be joined up by the Chen Ancient Creeps as well. Throw those on the high ground. Ancient Granite Golem gonna make this siege a lot easier for Navi's side, and without the Morphling up for these next 10 seconds, doesn't feel like the Radiant are in any shape to fight here. They do have a glyph though. Pops it. Arrow will connect onto Dityra. It's almost as if he soaked that purposefully.
He used Warcry right before he was hit, so if they did initiate on him, yeah, he is going to take a lot of damage before he actually goes down, and they'll have to Global Silence to prevent the Oracle from using False Promise to ensure that kill. Would have had to be a lot of commitment from Empire just to go for that one Sven, and now Empire, they're going to Moonlight in. Dragon's not going to see anything, Golem's not going to see anything, and they're not going to find their opening, though.
Really wise play from Navi. They see that bottom lane is pushing into this point, so for obvious reasons, Empire have moved as a unit of 5 out of their base, and they know exactly where they're headed. That's both teams well aware of when Roche spawns. So Navi, go up, sit on the high ground, make sure they're well positioned for anything coming their way. Very wise play from them, and now Empire will disperse, and jumping into the pit will be Dityra's Sven, popping God Strength.
Aloha Dance is on the top lane right now. His replicate is... Where is his replicate? It's kind of in the area, sort of, but it will take some time to get in. He has no travels either. I mean, how much farm Dityra has? I'm not really sure if this Faceless Void clone is going to get here in time to actually be relevant, for the Morphling to be relevant, but still, this is a fight where Empire will have Blink Chrono, they will have the Global Silence, maybe level 2 by the time this fight actually breaks out, which would be really handy to get that extra second Sable, and of course Earth Splitter. So this is potentially really risky from Navi, especially since they still don't have many ways of getting rid of this Global Silence. Sven has BKB, but no one else has any way of doing it for themselves. So, you know, Global Silence is going to be fairly backbreaking for Navi's team fight.
Yeah, it feels like that Void Replicate in the 15 seconds that's left can only about get to the stairs here by the pit. So I don't know that Empire really have the wherewithal to mount this defense, but they do have a global and they do have a chronosphere. They fight very well in close quarters. We're unlikely to see, you know, anyone but perhaps Artstyle and Dityra in this pit. Look at everyone else to counter and initiate, and we do have the go signal as Dityra begins work on this Roche.
And yeah, beginning Roche and ending Roche isn't really going to take that long for Dityra. Did he actually completely sell off his Helmet of Dominator? He did. No more stacks needed. Stacking item, no lifesteal.
Blink Dagger on the ground.
Don't need Blink.
Hype.
Artstyle doesn't want it. Snako doesn't want it.
The Astral Spirit. Oh, the Astral Spirit not scout it. But Dityra will come out and grab that Blink for Dityra now. Dityra hitting very hard at this point. And 1,700 gold in his pocket. He's got the Boots of Travel. So we saw it in the bottom lane. He can be sent back and rejoin the fray. So split push potential is not going to be all that great for Aloha Dance and Empire.
Well, I mean, Aloha Dance can push up towards top as much as he wants. Not only do they have the 10 and the travel combo to defend up against the creep wave or 2, they also have the X marks, which we haven't really seen Dendi abuse yet. You know, really filthily abuse in order to hold the side lanes and keep everyone still in this bottom lane. But they also have that luxury as well. So, you know, travels or not, Navi will be very hard to be forced back through split push. And if General's somehow able to kill off this replicate, that'll be quite nice. But it looks like that's not going to be happening. He has travels, and it looks like Navi, they want to end this game through a bottom lane push, or at least take the Raxes. No Blink Dagger on Sven though, no Sand King being in the area means that actually starting a fight is going to be kind of tough.
He does have the boots of travel though on general, so can join them relatively soon. And it looks like for now, Artstyle simply going to chip at the buildings. Moonlight Shadow going to be popped up here, and again they'll look right from the wraparound from mid. Ghostic NG. There is an Aegis on this Sven though, so bringing him down once under the Chronosphere, as they have with Dendi the last few times, is not exactly going to be as effective. Now G going to show himself, does have the Lincoln Sphere. King R shows himself as well, but again, no Blink Dagger on this Sven.
Flame. More flame, put in the screws, General. No true sight though, and with the hammer, Lincoln Sphere already disabled.
No replicate is there as well. Dayura pops up the Warcry, jump forward, Burrow Strike is there from Aloha. That's a couple more right clicks. He's going to waveform to the north.
Oh, he's out of mana.
And he has nothing left for TP. One big right click, or one bash of the shield perhaps from Dayura. Going to take him out. But meanwhile, Skirmish breaking out bottom lane. Dendi in a lot of trouble. He's going to be going down here. Hasn't been his smoothest game on the Kunkka there, so going to be the trade for Aloha Dance, and that's going to mean that essentially or effectively all this has done is really delay the push that would have been impending from Na'Vi with this Aegis. So Dendi Death is going to be almost as costly, if not more costly, than Aloha Dance's in the top lane.
It's both heroes going to be up at around the same time. Another Chronosphere should be up by that time as well. I mean, it is pretty important for Empire to have this Morphling, and as long as Na'Vi have their Sven, I still feel like they can make some plays. It'll be a lot riskier, yes, to have the benefit from nor the X marks kind of control that Faceless Void in the middle of the fight, but you know, just let Dayura do what he does as Sven, and still Na'Vi can make some of these plays happen. Like, they're going to take down a free tier 2, while in the meantime their tier 1 is going to be pushed unsuccessfully by Empire. There is no way for the Kunkka to get easily into this fight though, so I think that should not be it. But all the tier 2 towers are now down for Na'Vi. Still, Shadowblade has some pretty incredible value here for Dayura, even without being upgraded just yet. Plus we have freaking AC on Artstyle. Yeah, that's like so completely unnecessary for a Chen to have.
I mean, Dayura could easily just upgrade to a Silver Edge now, or pick up a Moon Shard before this next fight. With the Aegis in hand, doesn't really feel like he needs buyback. They've got 2 tier 2s up, so I don't feel like there's all that much of a threat of their base being pushed in. General bot lane, stalking on Aloha, but he needs help, and that help will come in the form of his Sven. Dayura under the cover of Shadowblade nearby. General now going to show himself though, but Dayura still stalking.
They have Sheep and Hammer.
Aloha Dance barely able to replicate out. Good game sets from him. Maybe a bit of fortune, but either way is going to make it out. And yeah, they do have a Scythe of Vice completed up on General, so tons of luxury items coming out for this Na'Vi squad, and a lot of gold on the Sven for as soon as this Aegis expires, him to choose his next route in terms of item progression. But no tier 3 in the mid lane means Dayura can simply walk up the high ground here. He's going to be X'd up for now, and they will look to stomp him, but he's going to be dragged back with the X, so kind of without any inhibition, we're going to see Na'Vi chipping away at these buildings, not really committing all that much.
And then suddenly God Strength and Dayura's going ham. Yeah, the melee racks, they're dead. Range racks as well, gets the arrow, but I think he should be fine. Oh, never mind.
Jump forward, Chrono is going to find the Oracle. That's going to mean the Aegis and God Strength are down from the Sven. Earthsplit are going to come through. It's going to connect onto 2. Global is going to be there. Soneko should end up dropping here. He's going to pop the cheese though, and he's still healthy at this point. General off over to the west. Meanwhile, Dayura up in the back lines is going to just BKB TP out as he's too far away from his team. Dendi trying to armlet toggle, and it was working out for a bit. Time lock will seal his death. When all is said and done, they do get the mid lane of Rax and end up losing just the Kunkka for it. So they expend Aegis and Cheese, but it was a bit of an awkward scenario where the Dayura Sven again kind of just soaks an arrow in the base and drags Soneko in, so Ghostic gets a good chrono off because of it. Still though, you hit a chrono that influential and only really end up with 1 net kill in the fight. Lost lane of Rax, not where you want to be as Empire.
You can't make that trade happen again. Like, once is already costly enough. They need to very proactively stop this Sven from actually going in like that. involves an arrow, involves global silence, involves chronosphere in some capacity. The Morphling's farm at this point is pretty reasonable, packing that ethereal blade and the Dragonlance, so we can attack pretty hard, pretty quickly from outside the chronosphere and distribute that small amount of that relevant amount of damage into the Sven. Although Sven has a lot of HP at this point, 4,300 with the Granite Golem aura, but 3,700 with the fresh Heart of Trask is not too bad for himself either, and he sees G. His Blink Dagger's still gone though, so he's gonna have to get in here the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, and G is
no
simply gonna have to BKB, TP out. But it does cost G a BKB charge simply to be split pushing. That is the 8-second one. And Na'Vi feeling very good about where they stand in this game. Unfortunately, Dendi with his last couple deaths hasn't really made much in the way of item progression, but Ditya should be more than strong enough to carry the load here for his squad as long as he's offered control by General and Dendi.
Speaking of General, Refresher Orb on a Sand King. I mean, Scythe of Ice does give him quite a bit of mana, but the Refresher Orb in and of itself is pretty darn expensive, so it's most likely going to be an uptime Refresher Orb just to make sure that he has the Sheep Stick or the Epicenter. I did both whenever he wants it. This might be the only game in Na'Vi recorded history where Artstyle has more farm than Dendi by no small amount either. G with the X marks, with the boat and the torrent, not enough by itself. He's going to need a little bit more disable here, but Moonlight Shadow, he goes invis. Global Silence going to cover his retreat out. They still seem to know where he is. Chronosphere going to further cover his retreat, and Arrow as well. And it's nice to keep Mirana safe, but now they don't have any of their ultimates.
Yeah, I don't know if that's worth G's death at all, or G's life at all. I mean, he does not have buyback, so G dying is essentially a death sentence, but with the Chrono, with your Elder Titan damage, with Global Silence, maybe you're able to kill off 1 or 2 heroes and stymie the push in from Na'Vi. But now, even with G and all of those abilities off the floor, it does not feel like they have anywhere near enough wherewithal to stop Na'Vi from pushing in. But yeah, once again, beautifully layered are the CCs there from Na'Vi. Gonna bring down Aloha Dance, Lincoln Sphere, be damned, and TP right back into the fray. God Strength was used by Ditya, so they likely won't have that by the time they hit the high ground, but Empire will not have a Morphling by the time Na'Vi hit the high ground, so definitely advantage Dire side.
And still a minute left before another Global Silence is available, so Na'Vi do have quite a few assets that Empire currently don't have. Chronosphere is back up because of the fact that it was Aghanim. They're going to try to go for the Sven. He's going to take an absolute beating from absolutely everyone, and he will go down hard or not. General's Bro Strike a little bit too late there. Here comes the boat. Epicenter is pretty good onto a lot of heroes, but General's taking a lot of damage in the meantime. False Promise will keep him up. He's going to pop his BKB, just trying to poke at Seneko, but he's getting poked at pretty hard by Dendi with the Deathless. Bro Strike will ensure the kill. At the same time, keeping Poke out of the fight. Buyback from the Sven will kill him off. That's 3 buybacks from Empire, but they still have to face up against Ditya without a Morphling.
Yeah, Aloha Dance on the sidelines for 18 seconds. Glyph is going to be popped up, but the melee rock should just be dead in a moment, and it is. X is going to catch Ghostic when he tries to initiate into the torrent. Couple of right clicks. He's going to be brought down. Second epicenter of the fight for General. They will get the lane of Rax bottom. Now Aloha Dance respawns. General, he's also going to buy back. No Chronosphere for 7 seconds. Artstyle seems to be the straggler that may simply be sacrificed. They're going to TP onto the Astral Spirit with Aloha Dance looking for more. But everyone else from Na'Vi is far and away from this Radiant base, and that is a hell of a lot of buybacks. 4 of 5 buybacks expended by the Radiant side. Get a little vision down in the base for the Dire. See it if you can, spot out any smoke rotations or see someone back defending so that they can take a 5v4 engagement. Na'Vi are very comfortable with where they reside in this game currently. 2 lanes of Rax up, 3rd lane of Rax exposed, and still have 2 tier 2s in their mid and bottom lane.
They lost that fight while not expending any of their ultimates, which I guess now they have their ultimates for the last lane, but they have to really make them count, seeing as though they don't have any buyback, and Na'Vi will probably have HGs on some assortment of their heroes. Roshan is once again up and about, so Empire are going to make a pretty desperate move, which even if it works out, they catch, General out, they still have to go through the tier 2s, or a tier 2, or they could just backdoor top lane, I suppose. That's also fairly desperate. Na'Vi, their vast majority of the heroes have travels. They can get Chen sent back, so maybe they can rush it down as a element of surprise. But Seems like that's not even guaranteed.
And even so, even if they were able to get it, that is the lane that Na'Vi needs to go to end the game. So having a melee Rax in the top lane is really going to be kind of a moot game for Empire. But Roshan, an extra life, certainly not moot. Or Ditya, he's going to drop down his Shadow Blade for now, and we'll have that second life. She's also going to be picked up by Na'Vi in the hands currently of Saneko. Keep himself up, make sure False Promise gets off onto a key target in this next engagement. And yeah, Desperation plays kind of seem like the only available route here for Empire going forward. But Aloha Dance does have himself a BKB fully completed up. He's the only one with buyback on the Radiant side as well, as he was not in that originally. Now Ghostic is going to find the Chronosphere. It's just onto the chin though. And they're going to all extract themselves from this top area of the map until Aloha Dance. He's going to be X'd up, torrented. Burrow Struck is there. A couple more right clicks, but he does get the replicate out towards the top lane. And when all is said and done, it's a Chronosphere for a Chen. And so we'll likely just see Na'Vi push this top lane out as a unit, wait for their Chen to respawn and join them, and look to end this game.
Man, Chen's farm is just stupid, man. He's got the Assault Cuirass, which is already ridiculous. Sheepstick is on the way for him. I mean, we're getting pretty late into this game, 46 minutes. We expect a couple of items, but usually it's like, you know, you get Vlads, get some auras for the team, and just be kind of a just an aura carrier, that's it. But no, he's carrying some heavy duty auras, plus a Sheepstick, which is not a joke. I mean, for Empire, they still have a really farmed Morphling. It just doesn't seem like he's able to do anything, just because he's getting caught first all of the time. Mirana, very similar story there. Like, she can do a little magic damage. Oh, speaking of getting caught, Morphling teleported the Bond down towards bottom lane. Refresher Orb for another Sheepstick. Global Silence is there. He's going to pop a BKB, try to wait for him out. That is going to be Morphling to survive, but he burns a Replicate just to get out of there, guaranteed. Raise it for the God Strength and the Refresher Orb, but that's also global down.
Yeah, global is the key there, I feel, and the Chen, he's had enough time to walk back and join up with his comrades as well. So Nako nearby with the cheese. Artstyle picks up a third Ancient, and they will tend to this top lane where G will have to TP out under the cover of his 6-second BKB, which is now down to minimum duration. So Na'Vi should feel very comfortable now with all the lanes pushing in to deal with this top lane and look at this final lane of Rax.
We also have Chen with 3 Ancients. Frenzy is a spell that's on Thunderhide. If Ditya even needs that additional buff of strength, but yeah, it is not an irrelevant buff there, plus armor and health and everything. So this is peak Chen for 47 minutes in the game. Ditya just 15 seconds with no God Strength. Not a big deal. He's fearless.
We'll catch him on the retreat. Jump forward from Ghostic. Only the one-man chrono. There's a lot of burst damage, but the False Promise is there in time. And Ditya should be able to turn around with the Hand of God and the Greaves. He's got God Strength and has a BKB available as well. Gonna get healed up. G now, he's gonna get stunned. A couple right clicks bring down the Mirana. No buyback for G. Stomp comes out. BKB is there from Ditya. He'll just eat the Earth Splitter. And now coming back in, and the X back, but will replicate out Aloha Dance. Ditya very low, will end up losing the Aegis. Only one lane of Rax, or only one Rax, excuse me, standing now though. Aloha Dance is going to pop at his BKB. Ghostic gets very low, but not brought down. Aloha Dance may not be so lucky. They are lacking God Strength at this point, and Ditya will go objective-based gaming, bring down the last Rax, secure Megas. And Aloha Dance is on the retreat, not hitting all that hard, and had to morph into strength. And they'll look at these tier 4s. King R slowed up by the Test of Faith, or Penitence, I should say, and forced back into base. And the towel thrown in by Empire. We started, what, 7 hours ago, and 5 games later, Dota Pit for the day, guys, is going to be completed in the CIS group stage. Na'Vi